Hey everybody, we are going to work on the last of our major chords, which is B, and then next week we'll start over with the minors, and repeat this process. But in the process of repeating the process, I'm going to slow it down. We've worked on the key of B flat, I think, for roughly a month, maybe a month and 1 week. And we've gotten into covering more of the process that we should be working with. And so I'm going to do it that way from now on, because we've got most of the basics down, and we just have to practice those so we can put them into perspective. Because you need to get to a point where you can either sit down and sight read music, or sit down and just somebody says, I'm playing in the key of B, and let's go. And so you can follow it. And so we're in the key of B. And I'm just going to roughly just give you the sounds of it. We've got the B. Second position is a C sharp minor, which is, of course, a D flat minor, either way that you remember it correctly. But it's actually a C sharp minor. And then the next position is a D sharp minor, okay? Which would be, of course, an E. But as things are, it's labeled a C sharp minor. That's how they word it in the keys. But when you look at regular music and you're playing it, you're going to go, oh my goodness, what is a D sharp minor? Well, they don't seem to write it that way. Instead, they'll write it as a D minor instead of in other words, a D flat or minor. Very rarely will they go C sharp minor, if you follow what I'm getting at. So again, we have the B, C sharp minor, D sharp minor, E, F sharp. Now we have a G sharp minor. And now we have an A sharp diminished. Here's the A. To sharp it, we're going to move everything up a half a step, which is a B flat minor, actually. But we're looking at it here as a sharp, and now we're going to diminish it. Did I do that right or do that wrong? Okay, we did it A sharp. I did it wrong. Okay, so an A sharp is a B flat, a D, and an F, which is a B flat. But they've got it listed as an A sharp diminished. So we play it that way. This is an A, this is a sharp, and this is a diminished. You see a little discord there. Okay, but you have to look at the harmonics. Something in there. I just went from, in other words, I went up one. I probably goofed you up because I just threw another chord in there. But this is what we do, and this is what you're starting to do. You'll just automatically do something and go, well, why did that sound okay, and what was that for, and where did it come from? And then you have to examine for a second what it is. And when you start doing that, don't feel like you're making mistakes, because this is what you're doing. In your inside somewhere, you hit a chord, and you automatically feel something, and so you want to play that. You'd be surprised how many rock and roll sounds were that way, and that was just the bass. Let's go to the B. Okay, now I'm on B, and let's start out thinking about writing something. Okay, what do you want to use? Why don't we just go with the first, the fourth, and the fifth? So that would be a B, an E, and an F sharp. Pretty simple. Or if we really want to get into a nice pretty sound, we could go with a B. We could go with a D sharp minor. I made a couple things in there, which were, you could call them mistakes, but see, that's what we do. So, let's just say we're going to go with B, E, and F. And this is basically what we've been doing, all of these keys. And so we might as well stay the same, and when we start on the next version of the minor keys, all these keys in a minor key, then we'll start moving into developing more whip. And then after that, we'll probably go into even widening that out even more. In other words, we can go on with this for a long time because there's so much here. But most musicians, and I'm not cutting anybody down, they may get through one or two keys and they get okay with that. In other words, like back in the 60s, there was a lot of people that played just a two-key song, or some people still will just play one key. Say they're in B. In other words, they just stay in B the whole thing. They just change the rhythm around a little bit, they just stay in B. And that's okay if they're making a song and everybody's going for it, that's fine. But we want to get into variety when we're going to get a lot of rhythms. And before I forget, Where I Go to Be Safe will be released next Wednesday on the 13th. And I took that exactly, basically the way I did it on the last lesson. And I worked on it a little bit, not much, and but I basically recorded it straight from that lesson that I did, and it's now a song. Just to let you know how it's actually simple if you have the knowledge and the feeling combined together with the operation of your hands and maybe your foot if you're playing pedals. And when you have all those things together, it doesn't matter how many times you've written a song, as long as you got the recorder there, so if something turns out good, you just simply you've already got the recording. So all you have to do now is practice it until you can get in front of somebody and just play it without even thinking about it. Okay, so we have got B. So we have to come up with something simple. Remember, we started with something simple. And that's what I'm going to do with this lesson. I'm going to go through a couple of just a little bit interesting stuff to see and show you how we can start something simple. So we're taking B, E, and F. So we have B, and if we invert, throw this F sharp down, we throw this E flat down, it won't interfere so much in what we're doing here. So we've got our B, and we have our E. You notice we're not moving much. This is staying in the same place, in fact. Okay, and now we're just moving up to an F sharp. We can go up or we can go down. So here it is, we have the B down, the E is in place, and the F sharp is down. See, so we can go down. I'm going to go down with a D sharp minor. Whoop, I screwed up. Oh, I put a B flat in there instead of what I wanted, because this is what I wanted right here. Okay, so because this is our F, in other words, we throw the F down here and invert it. So we have B, D sharp minor, now I screwed you up again. Here we have B, then we go to E, then we go to F sharp. So you can do it that way. B, do it that way. In other words, I'm inverting to get a different sound. If I wasn't inverting, I would do them this way. I did it again. Because I like that harmony which is coming in my head. Say if it was B, for some reason, that's what's in my head. That's what I'm doing. Okay, let's see if I can get that out of my head. Okay, we've got B, E, F, sharp, and then back to B. If we're doing just the 1, 4, 5. Okay, so we have this inverted down. We're playing this down here. Okay, and then we're going to F sharp, which we can still keep it low. Now, if we're not going to keep it low, we would be up here, see? Which we could do, but we're too high. We're interrupting up here into what we might want to do here as far as keeping the harmonic rhythm and the lead separated. So we could even go this way. And adding the B down here to the E chord to give it a bass, where you could do this. See? And the B, look at the B. Now I'm going to go to the F sharp. You ready for this? See what I just did there? Okay, here's our B. I threw down the F and the E. Okay. Now, the next one was the E. So I'm doing the E. And the next one is the F sharp. And all I did was just invert the E down. And there's your F sharp. And then I come back to B. But if you want to add bass to it, just simply take and throw an octave in there and add it all together when you first hit the chord, see? And that's impressive. It gives you in other words, it gives you a big boom if you want that. Or you could slide it down. Or just together. So we'll do it this way, just to show you a new way to position your fingers. And then as your mood changes, as you're trying to put something together, you might find something that you like to add. Instead of just playing 3 notes, you can add this one. Okay, so we have our B. What's the next one? It's an E. Okay, so we can do it that way without moving this. Okay, here we have our B. Now we have our F sharp. See how those harmonize together well? By inverting down so you get more of a bass into it? Okay, I'm going to repeat that again. So we have a B. We've inverted the F and the E down, so it's lower. And then we've added another B as an octave below it. And then when we've gone to the E, we've done the same thing, except we've used the B again. So we've actually taken the third of the chord, say, no, the fifth of the chord, and thrown it down here. And that gives us a whole different sound. Say, because here we have this, and this is just, these two are lower. Okay, so we've got a whole different scheme going on here. This would be like an E flat diminished, like a D flat augmented minor. Okay, that's what it would actually be. And that's how these chords all infiltrate amongst themselves so that you can do all kinds of amazing things. And so here's B, and we add an octave below on our top note. See how I'm doing a beat? I'm getting that together first, aren't I? Now you can say that's a lead, because you could play it as a lead, but I'm going to play it as a harmony, see? So I'm going to go up here and do something. Oop, I screwed up. So we can go up to a lead and just see what we're going to do with this. See, we've got, in other words, we've got a B. And we start putting stuff together.